Okay. May peace and power elevation be to all of you. What's going on? This your girl Tiffany coming through live in the bed. Okay, I see you, brother. I'm about to add you on. So what's going on, everybody? This your girl Tiffany coming through live in the Fed. And tonight, there was supposed to be a debate going on. However, that debate got postponed. But I'm going to bring a brother on here who goes by the name of Commission Adapt. He's part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and he also studied comedic information and studied about the indigenous people. So I'm gonna bring him on, and he's gonna do his presentation. We're gonna discuss about who are the Black Indians and who are the indigenous people of America. So let's go ahead and all right, I see you. I got you. So let me go ahead and bring him on here. Hey brother, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Can you hear my mic, sister?
Yes, I can hear you. How you
Okay,
doing?
okay. All is well. Peace and love, sister. I rise and give praises to, the great God and honors to the ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and everybody else who came along the way. Also, I just would like to make a brief correction. I'm not a part and parcel of the Moorish Science Temple. I'm
Okay.
actually a citizen of the Moorish American government.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a difference between the two. One is an organization and one is a government. And our
Okay.
views vary slightly here and there.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Peace and love.
Okay. Peace and love. All right. So we're gonna get into the topic about who are the Black Indians, right? And who are the indigenous people of America. Okay. So you said you got a little presentation that you want to show, that you want to present about the Moors and the indigenous and the Black Indians. So the floor is on you. So what you got to present?
Well, okay. Basically, again, rise and giving honors to the ancestors. What I want to present, first and foremost, we as Moors, we have a different measure when it comes to dealing with the term black. And I really want to bring a clarity in regards to dealing with the measure. Not from a negative standpoint or attack, because we never come to attack our people. We come to educate our people. And so the question I would have to pose, before I even go into this is, do you have a knowledge of the origin of the word black?
Well, yes, I do. Okay, the word black is nothing more than a social construct, right? That was created by the European to make a distinction between, people from different ethnic background. Okay, so when we say the word black, we're just speaking from a social standpoint because that's how we identify. That's how we, connect with each other. All right. So yes, black has been used in the negative sense as a way to demoralize a group of people, right? So we have been demoralized, you know, as far as the term black is concerned, right? So yes, black does carry a negative connotation, all right, but at the same time, it's a social identity. Just put it like that. It's just the way that we identify ourselves, or what I'm saying, it's just a social term that we use. But we all know that the race ideology is made up, right? It's what I'm saying, we didn't at one point in time, we did not identify based on race. We're talking about African ancestry, African people. They did not identify by race. They identified by ethnic group. You know what I mean? That's how they identify. But again, when the Europeans came around and they start bringing about privilege and bringing about a certain type of status, right? That's when they used the racial concept. So there you go.
Well, honest to you for that measure, sis. And I respect your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Because many people would eventually, off rip, what they would try to do is start defending the word black when I would ask that question. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's a grand measure because you were honest. You recognize that black was a name that was given by the Europeans and so forth and so on. And we can say, that there was a color code, so to speak, that came from not only the European, but the Jews also was involved in creating that. And this was at one of their historical measures, yeah. And it came first from the biblical research, the rabbis. And so dealing with that particular aspect alone, they came up with the concept of, black, they say represented Ethiopians, and then they went into the brown people being the man people, who they like to call the Indians, the red man, the yellow man being the Mongoloids. So they came up with like a five uh, part caste system, so to speak, to put these people in boxes, which in turn, anytime you do that, what you do is that you denationalize a people. And see, this is what happened to our people. We were denationalized as a people, and that's a crime against humanity. See, when somebody denationalizes you, they take your identity from you. And so, by very virtue of you being denationalized, the whole reason behind this and taking that from you is so that you would not be recognized as indigenous to the land. You see, and this is why it's necessary that we have the name that tie to the land. And this is where the dispute rise between our people. Okay, well, is this name African, or is this name Moor, or is this name, Hebrew, and so forth and so on. So when you deal with this term black, just black alone, we ain't got the Africa yet, but just dealing with black alone, sister, black, we say in our teaching, I'm being honest just as you were with me. Noble Drew Ali taught that black, according to science, mean deaf. Now, when he said this, he was speaking on a very high intellectual level. It didn't have nothing to do with self-hate or none of that. And the European demonstrated this even before they started using it here with our people in the West. If you get a chance, read the book Ancient and Modern Britons. I got some screenshots of it that I
Okay.
actually show you, and I do that in a few minutes so
Okay.
you can see this, because I don't want to just be speaking and then you don't have nothing to go on, because anybody can get up here and talk. We got to bring
Mm-hmm.
receipts in this new era and time. We
Mm-hmm.
can't just talk about it. We got to show and prove. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
the man that's going to do that.
Okay.
So I'm just, laying groundwork.
Okay.
So the reason he said black according to science mean deaf, you got to look at it. What science was he referring to? The science of law. You got the science of spirituality. You see, you got the science of, just dealing with science in itself, alchemy. So, well, what about law, for example? Well, according to law, according to the Black Code laws, the Black Code laws were implemented in 1866. And they were implemented to restrict our people after being free. Hence, really, in all actuality, you wasn't necessarily free. You were told you was free, but now we're going to create these designer laws to make sure you can't move and really become who you are really striving to be. So the Black Code laws were given to our people to enslave them. So that's where the term started being used upon us. But they adopted it in 1866 from the 1685 Code Noir. These were the French laws, Black Code laws, same laws, which if you go and research them, and you can look them up, I direct you to them. They used these laws. Basically, they gave them to the people of the United States to enforce upon us. How we marry. If they didn't believe in Christianity, they get caught reading anything, whoop them. All that type of stuff right there. Or they can't assemble without our permission. All of that was implemented in 1685 and adopted in 1866. You see what I'm saying? And so now what we see in this era of time in the new laws that we have, they're using the same tactics. Only difference is they changed the law. And if you go into a law library, you would actually find that it states slave laws on modern day law books. Literally on the back of the binder, slave law. And so this is what woke me up and made me say I'd never allow myself to be enslaved to a system again. Now, mind you, as far as my background, when it comes to revolutionary and being dealing with that aspect, it don't get no more revolutionary than me, sis. I done literally went fist to cuffs with this European. I done literally bust iron at this European in my younger stages. You see what I'm saying? So when I see people talking, all that hoorah and all that, it sound good, but how many times have you literally went to that extent? And I don't encourage our people to be on that special level. Oh, just go out here, shoot them up, bang, bang, whatever. I'm just letting you know my background and where I come from, and I was taught through the lineage of the Shakors as well. One of my enlighteners was a part of the Black Panther Party, and he gave me unwritten history about the Black Panther Party, stuff that was never wrote about in books. So I was very revolutionary. And one thing he told me when I was real, we'll say gung ho and just ready to just lay it all on the line and die for the cause, he said, brother, I want you to check a book out for me. So I'm like, what book you referring to? So he said, The Spook That Sat by the Door.
I got that book.
So I never read the book.
I got the book, and I seen the movie though. The movie was great.
I watched the movie.
But there was some things I disagreed about, in the movie. Like some of the things that he did, I didn't think that he was really living by, going by that code towards me. But yeah, it was a great movie though.
And see, that's basically what he was telling me, and I seen the movie, but I didn't read the book. And I seen how this brother he was trying to basically tell me, just because you're willing to make a sacrifice, brother, don't make a vain sacrifice. And that's really what woke me up. Just because you're willing to die don't mean they won't take you off the count. So my thing is, so if I allow myself to be took off the count just on the humbug, just because, I'm not dying for the cause, I'm dying just because. So even to the day, if it's my time, it's my time. That's what it is. I don't mind. Ain't nothing scared about me. So when it comes to that aspect, I said that to say this. That put me in the state, no, get this knowledge and teach your people. And I swore to love my people and teach my people. And if so, it be the will of the great God, die for my people. You know what I'm saying? And I stand true to that today. So from that aspect, when you see me out here, freedom is not a game. We're trying to give our people the truth. I just wanted to give a brief background.
Okay.
So dealing with these black codes, these are the things that we're suffering from now. And this is why Noble Drew Ali, like I said, according to law, that's the definition of black, brings us much death as far as under the legal standpoint. Even in the law library, when they consider you black under the black codes, they called you a vagrant. If you're familiar with the laws of vagrancy, you are considered a vagabond and dead according to the letter of the law. This is written in their law. So this ties you back to the Dred Scott case, 3/5 of a human being, you see? And so if you are 3/5 of a human being and that has never been overturned to this day, then you are somebody else's property. So one time you're black, you was Negro at another time, you was colored at another time. We the only people that change nationalities, so to speak, like people change clothes. Why is that? People that are Chinese have always been Chinese. People
okay, and that's the question that I have for you. Now, where do you stand? Do you stand on the fact that we are the indigenous people?
Of course, but you got to be indigenous by name. And that's what
So
I'm getting at.
So we're not African, we're indigenous, correct?
Well, we are indigenous, but you got to remember the term Africa is a term that was also given by another people. It wasn't given to us by our ancestors. It was given by somebody else. When you say indigenous, your name have to be tied to the land.
Okay, so
That's one way.
let me rephrase the question. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
as far as ethnic background is concerned, are we indigenous to this land, or are
Yes,
we
we are.
indigenous to the African?
We indigenous to the planet, sister. That's my position. We indigenous to Africa. We indigenous to America. We the indigenous to Europe, and I can prove this with documentation. We the original Europeans, so to speak, not by color and flesh. I'm just saying, as far as the land, we didn't call it that. They called it Europe. So what I'm saying is, we inhabited that land before they did in Britain. And in ancient and modern Britain, that's what they're talking about. They'll tell you that the original kings that were there, and there's pictures of them. The original kings there, you will see us ruling there. You see, us, our people. I'm talking about looking just like us, ruling there. Because we civilized them. You remember, we brought them out of their savagery. So we taught them how to wash where they itch at and so forth and so on. We taught them, how to use cosmetics. They were cavies, so to speak. So we indigenous to, even to Russia. We indigenous to that. We indigenous to India. We indigenous to every place in the world, when it come down to it. But the key is knowing the name that tie you to the land. And that's what I'm getting at right now. So if there's anything you want me to pull up in what I said, it's now
Yes,
time to
I
ask
would
me.
love to see your information. I want you to, back it up. Yeah, I
Okay,
want you to back
okay,
it up.
okay. Give me something, that you heard that you want me to show you in the
I
information.
want you to show me how we indigenous to America, the origin, and also I want to know about us.
America or the world now.
Okay, I want you to show proof of that because you said you was gonna show, information, right, to back it up. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
go ahead. I want to see.
Okay. Well, where I'm gonna start at is right here first, because I got a lot of stuff. I actually was pulling stuff up before you even got here. Let me see. Let me know how this screen sharing go.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. All right. Oh, it looked like it share the same way that the other screen. Oh,
Okay.
you can see
Let's
me,
see.
right?
Yes, I see you.
Okay, okay. So let me pull up. I got so much in here. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see where I want to go first. But first and foremost, I'm gonna go here.
Okay.
And this is actually one of the measures.
Okay. Can't you? Well, you know what? Let me see something. Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. If you can just kind of zoom it in.
Okay, let me see. Better yet, I'm gonna do it this way because I'm actually editing that. I'm gonna go here and then just pull it up in the picture form, and I can do more with it because I got a lot of different stuff up here.
Okay.
Okay, so we got a couple of things we gonna bring on the manifest, and we gonna
Mm-hmm.
make it hard for somebody to come behind us. You can see that there,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. I just wanted to test you on that there, and I'm finna go through a few things. I'm gonna get to this one document first.
Okay.
Just dealing with the term black and who these people are and so forth and so on. Well, better yet, it'll actually be better for me to start here because I want to start at the root
Okay. Go ahead.
because
Go
that's
ahead.
what I like to do.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, yeah, this is the one right here. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You familiar with the Kushites, right?
Yes, I have heard of the Kushites.
Okay. Well, the Kushites basically represent the root of civilization in the East. When you talk about the Nile Valley civilization, these are the Kushites. So I actually have, a depiction. This I found later, but I'm pulling one more photo up. I want you to see this as well.
Oh well, okay. Well,
I'm pulling this up too because it actually go with this.
mm,
Let me see. Okay, These are my downloads, documents. Okay, let me get you here. And these, we're going to deal with just these right here for now. See, all my knowledge deal with unity and uniting. So that's how you're going to see me come forth with everything I bring, so to speak. Okay, there we go, right there. That's what I'm looking for. Now, if you look at this, I created this. This is from my own research, right?
You created it.
Yeah, I created this here. What you see right here, this is my own research. So you see why I say we the Moors, I say are the ancient of days indigenous to the planet. And our sacred garden is the world. Okay? So here, if you notice, this brother here is known as Menachem. This is the one who they call Noah. Notice the name Cam is in his name. When you hear them where they speak of the Hamites, they took the K off of the front of it. So Ham is really Cam. Sometimes you'll see a C there. Or sometimes they will spell it Chem or Khem. This is where you get Kemet from. You see? You got me?
Okay, so you get Kemet out of what's his name again?
No, I'm saying Kim comes from here, really. But what I'm saying is Ham, the word Ham, that they like to say mean dark people or black people and so forth and so on. This is Noah's real name. He is not known by this name biblically, but he's known as Menachem. That's his name. You see, so this lets you know that Noah, all his three seeds that he had, Ham, Shem, Japheth, as they call them, they were all of the dark hue. They wasn't no white man, black man, Chinese man. They was all of melanated. They was our people is what I'm getting at, right? So he gave birth to Cam. Cam came through his lineage, in other words. Cam is what the word Kemet really received its popularity. So from Cam came Cush, Mesra, Put, Kana or Kanana, which they call them Canaanites and so forth and so on. Now, the Cushites had two dynasties. They are known as the Meroe Cushites. And then you have right here, you see the word Meroe?
Okay.
And then Meroe. Notice the root of the word here, M and R, right? This is the etymological root, M and R. If you remove the vowels, this is what you will have left in consonants. You got me?
I'm reading. Okay, the question is, how did you come up with the name of the first picture? Like, where did you get that? How did you come across that source?
That name is actually the document. It comes from Ethiopia, and it is known as this particular book right here, known as the Book of Jasher. You know, and I'm gonna show you a copy of that as well, so you can get it on your own if you chose to. Let me do this right here for you. And it talks about Osiris. If anybody, this
okay,
is not the
there's a
traditional.
question, brother. What language is the word Cam? Is it Hebrew, Moretti, or Medunetia? Well, what is it?
I'm glad you asked that question. There's only one language, my sister, and the language is coming forth from Medunetta, also known as Proto-Canaanite, which they like to call Hebrew. There's no such thing as a Hebrew language. It's called Proto-Canaanite or Proto-Sinaitic, and I show that to you. I show that to you as well. But all of it is hieroglyphics, a Medunetta. That's why if you go into Hebrew, better yet, this is my best way to do it, or what they like to call Hebrew. Watch this. This is my best way to do it right here, since you asked that question. And I want the actual language, not no foolery they got going on. The best place to go where they gonna give it up it at is, let me see. They will give you the original language a lot of times. So you see ham here, right? You see that?
Yeah.
You
Okay,
see
you have to blow the
that?
screen up a little bit.
Oh, you can't see it? Okay, now come over here. You see what they did with the name here?
Ham, yeah.
You see what they put in front of it though, right?
Yeah, Cham.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now this name is pretty much, it kept its original essence, basically. This name, even though it went into what they like to call Hebrew language, it kept its original language. If you go into Arabic, it's the same thing.
Okay, now that's funny that you said that. Now let's get to about the language family. Are
Okay,
you
go ahead.
familiar that Hebrew, Arabic, and Medu Neter come from a language family called Afro-Asiatic languages?
That's what the Hebrews teach. I would say they come forth from the Abjad
No,
alphabet.
no, no, no. That's based on science. You know,
That,
that's based
that,
on
that's that,
linguistics.
that's
That's what the linguists.
that's
That's
the
what the,
Europeans. That's their definition of it. But I call
but,
it I
okay.
call it Abjad. Do you know the DNA of the languages?
Okay, hold on. Before we get there, because you just said that Hebrew, right?
What they call Hebrew?
No, you said what it's called Hebrew, and then you
Yeah, what they
mentioned about
call
the
Hebrew.
Arabic language, and you mentioned
Right.
about the Medu Neter. So
Right.
they all have a commonality of a language family called Afro-Asiatic. So
That's
this
what
has
the
been researched
scientists.
by linguistics. I mean, linguists.
That's what the scientists call it. I don't call it that. You got to look at it like this. When I do my research, I don't, even though I research in European areas, I go back to the root of a thing, and that's where I give a thing its name based upon that. But I can show you where I went to the root at, and I can show you what I'm talking about when I'm speaking on what I'm speaking on now. The original language, there is no many different languages, so to speak. They all one language. You see, for example, what you call Afro-Asiatic, do you know the proven fact that'll show you that these languages are related to each other? If not, I'm finna show you the DNA of language since we're dealing with this. Do you know the DNA of the languages? What make them related to each other?
Yeah, that's go ahead.
No, can you give me the answer to it though? If not, I'll give it to you. It ain't a
Okay, now
round.
what's your questioning? Go back to the
I said,
question.
do you know the DNA that unite all of these languages that are related to each other? Because if this DNA is not a part of the language, it proves that this language has been corrupted, so to speak. The
Okay,
DNA
now
that I'm
what
referring
language
to.
are you speaking of?
I'm speaking of all of them. I can show you the DNA that show you that they are all related.
Okay, it depends
I
on
ain't
the
talking about somebody just saying it. I'm gonna show you. I'm finna teach you something.
okay, hold on. It depends on the geographical region which
I
the
don't care
language
what
come from.
geographical. I don't care what region it is.
And you got to
Even
look at
over,
the migration as well.
even I'm telling you. Either I don't care what region it is, sis. I can show you the common denominator that unite all languages.
Okay, what's the common denominator?
I'm finna show you right now.
Okay.
This is and you always use this test from now on when you get a chance to demonstrate it. Let me see. Here go your Hebrew alphabet right here, as they call it, right? I call it Proto-Sinaitic, Proto-Canaanite. And you're going to see why I call it that in a minute. Now, you notice this here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see the structure here of this language? You see the transliteration right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aleph, Bet, Gemil, Dalet. You see that, right?
Okay, now do you know that Hebrew and Arabic comes from the root language called Aramic? Are you familiar with that?
Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm finna show you something.
Are you familiar with Aramic though?
I'm finna show you every language that you can think of. This ain't the only one I'm finna deal with. I'm finna show you Akkadian, Phoenician. I'm finna show all of it to you. I'm just trying to show you the DNA that connect them. See this alphabet here? Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, right? This is A, B, G, and D. You see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
These four alphabets. Now watch this. Watch this. This was changed right here. You see the difference? You know how I know this was changed?
How?
Because it should read Alif, Ba, Ja, and Dal. But the only reason they put this in this order is so somebody can pronounce this. But the original Arabic alphabet, it read the same way as basically the Hebrew. So that shows that they are related. But this particular structure that they put together, because they got many different Arabic dialects. You agree? So I'm gonna show you one that actually is in the same order as that, in the same order that I just gave you in the Hebrew, that is. And this is the DNA by which you are able to identify the language with.
Okay, but see, now DNA, in order to identify a language, requires, right, genetics, going
No,
trace
listen to
genetics.
what I'm saying. I'm just using the term DNA in a figurative sense. Don't think about genomes in that aspect. I'm talking about a common denominator, a root that unites these languages as to where you can identify them coming from the same linguistic family. You see, that's what I'm talking about. So all of these alphabets in here, when you read them and you look them up, you notice that they all have a same or one common denominator. And that common denominator has to do with the abjad. You see? They got all this is modern Arabic right here.
Yes. Okay.
All
Now,
this is modern
are you
Arabic.
familiar? Okay. Are you familiar with the fact about semantics, phonology,
I can
morphology?
I can teach this in 7 days, sis.
Okay.
I
No.
teach
Are you familiar with
Sumerian
those
language,
things?
all that.
So, wait a minute. Over a period of time, yes, you have that ancient way of writing. Just like, let's give an example for English, right? You have the earliest form of English. The early form of English was not a well constructed language at that time. Like if you was to read how English was in the beginning, you wouldn't even understand. It wouldn't make any sense.
Here it is.
Like hold on. Like give an example. Okay, the word court. The word court was spelled with a V instead of U. It was spelled COBRT instead of
That's cause that's
COURT.
cause that's cause U is interchangeable with V and W. But listen, you see this right here?
But when
You
I'm
see
saying it
ABG?
can change over a period of time, meaning the structure of the language
Yeah,
can change. It doesn't
you,
always remain.
you're right. But what I'm showing you is how they relate. I'm not disputing with you on that. You see this here? You
Mhm.
see the ABGD? You see that?
Mhm.
That is the proper way that it's supposed to be. That's the proper order. So if you look at that Hebrew alphabet and you put this side by side with this, all of these letters would pretty much match up. The only difference between the two languages then will be these symbols and the way that they construct the alphabet. But the actual, different ways that they are expressing it here, they may have added more in. Now you see this ABGD here in the Arabic and you've seen it in Hebrew. Now let's go to Phoenician.
Okay, hold on. Now, oh, he just went out. Okay, so he just went out. I don't know where he went. Hopefully we'll get him back in. But anyways, let's start right there. Now he talked about the Akkadian language, the Hebrew language, and the Arabic language, right? So with the Hebrew and Arabic language, so we done got off topic basically. But with the Hebrew and Arabic language, and the and the Meta, what they have in common is what is called Afro-Asiatic languages, and then Hebrew and Arabic have in common, which is um which is Aramic. So they all come from the same root of Afro-Asiatic family. Now, and he spoke about the Akkadian language. The Akkadian language comes from the Afro-Asiatic language as well. So let me read y'all something real quick, and hopefully he'll get back in here because I don't know what happened. And peace to everybody that's coming in. Um, Hopefully he'll get back in here. So we'll continue. All right. So, anyways, Sister Courtney, I'm gonna get back in touch with you. And again, peace to everybody. So hopefully he'll get back. But let me show y'all something. All right. So I have this book right here. It's called the Dictionary of Ancient Egypt. All right. So let me read y'all a little something about the Akkadian language. It says the term used to denote a group of Semitic languages that first appeared in northern Mesopotamia. Okay, that's him coming back. All right.
Yeah,
Okay, brother.
I don't know what happened then. But yeah,
Okay.
basically what I was trying to show you is that the abjad is the root. If you go in Greek, you're gonna find an ABGD. If you go into what they call Phoenician or Akkadian Aramaic, it's gonna have ABGD. That's called abjad. That is the root that unite all of those languages at one. Anyone that don't begin with that, then it's not a part of the original construct. That's basically what I'm showing you. So if you see another language and it start out with WB7, then it ain't a part of our original language, basically. It's not a part of what you call the Afro-Asiatic languages, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what I was trying to show you. And this is proof when they talk about the world speaking one language at the Tower of Babel, it's rooted in the abjad. So what they call Greek language is really not Greek. It's Phoenician. What in Phoenician come from Comedian language, Demotic. You see? So what they are calling Hebrew is really Egyptian. Yeah. Yeah. And I can prove it.
Okay, I want you to prove that the Hebrew language is actually Egyptian. Go ahead.
Okay, here's your picture. And this is why I don't call it Hebrew. That's why I say so-called Hebrew.
Okay, so while you're doing that, hold on. Let me read something to you real quick.
Okay, I'm listening.
About the Akkadian language, because you mentioned something about the Akkadian. So now I got this book right here, right? Dictionary of Ancient Egypt, right? Written by Ian Shaw and Paul Nicholson.
Right.
Okay? All right. So in this book, it talks about the Akkadian language. Check this out. Term used to denote a group of Semitic languages that first appeared in northern Mesopotamia. In the third millennium BC, when the south of the country was still dominated by non-Semitic Sumerian speakers, by extension, the term is also used to refer to the material culture of northern Mesopotamia, particularly that of the dynasty founded by Sargon the Great, right? And the Akkadians adopted the Sumerian cuneiform writing system in order to write down their own language. And they began gradually to infiltrate Sumer during its early dynastic period, right? Such infiltration can be seen from the Semitic names of scribes at the southern site of Abu Salabi who wrote in Sumerian. It is likely that many people were bilingual even before the unification of Sumer with Akkad. Akkadian is divided into Old Akkadian used in the third millennium and Assyrian and Babylonian in the second and first millennia and is related to Arabic and Hebrew. Now, the Sumerian language, on the other hand, has no close relatives. All right, Akkadian quickly became established as the lingua franca of the ancient Near East and remained so over a long period. So that, for example, most of the Amara letters, which is diplomatic correspondence between Egypt and the Levant in the mid 14th century BC, are written in the Babylonian language, which is a late form of Akkadian.
Okay, and what's your point you trying to make, sis?
So the point that I'm trying to make is there is a connection between the Akkadian language, right, the Hebrew language, and the Arabic language. Again, it goes back to what I was saying about the Afro-Asiatic. And I
Well,
can
me
show
and
you.
you,
Hold on, I can show you about the Afro-Asiatic real quick. Just give me a
yeah,
second.
I'm familiar with that. Like, I'm not disputing what you're saying, nor am I
Okay.
disputing the use
So
of the
okay,
term
so I want you to show
Afro-Asiatic.
me proof that
I just don't
Hebrew.
use the term Afro-Asiatic, is what I'm saying. Go ahead,
Okay,
go ahead, go ahead.
okay. Now you have to show me proof that Hebrew is actually Egyptian language.
We right here. So you see these pictures up here? You see the image. I'm finna go into them, but do you see them?
I
I
can't
guess.
see the image. No.
Oh, you don't see nothing. I'm not sharing my screen.
No, you're not sharing your screen.
Oh, okay. Let me share it now. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, this is very important right here that we give this to you. Okay, my screen is being shared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Moses was said to get his scripture or his tablets from Mount Sinai. This is Mount Sinai today. These are the type of tablets that was in the area that Moses was in. And this is the temple of Hathor. Hathor is Hagar. You see this here?
Mm-hmm.
Look on the wall right there. That's where Moses, when Moses went to Mount Sinai, that's what was there. And it makes sense because you got to remember, Moses was raised up by Egyptians. You see, so he would know this language well. So that's why certain laws, which the 10 Commandments are only 10 that come from the Comedian laws of Ma'at. Now, this is one picture, right? It's called Sirabat El Kadim. The Arabs renamed it today. But this is where, when they say that they was worshiping a golden ass and a calf, the worship of the calf had to do with Hathor. Let me show you who Hathor is. You see, the goddess. And the reason why they said, do you see what she have on her head? That's symbolic to the horn. You see? And so her symbol was a cow goddess. She was a cow goddess. You see, somebody draw the picture of it there. But you would often see this goddess in that area. That's why they said that the Israelites were worshiping the golden ass when he came down. You see right here?
The Israelites was worshiping what?
In the biblical text, they said Moses came down because they began to worship, the goddess, the bull goddess. You see, they was worshiping what they considered an idol. That's what they said. So this was the idol that they was worshiping, the Israelites, when he came down. And that's why he broke the tablets, according to the Bible. And that's why they say he couldn't enter the land of Canaan. It's biblical history, I'm telling you. They saying that he got his tablets from here. So if he got his tablets from here, sis, and we see them today, they have hieroglyphics on them. It's just one shot of it. This ain't the only one. They have hieroglyphics on them, metal netta now. And I'm gonna go and show you the glyphs. Here's another shot of it right here. You see that right there?
I don't see anything.
Let it open up. There you go. You see it now?
Um,
You see what it's not? You see it now?
uh,
You see
yeah,
it
I
now?
see a picture. I see a picture, but
Yeah,
um,
you see above it what it say though? Mount Sinai, Egypt, Africa. This,
mm-hmm.
this is where Moses got his tablet from. So my thing is now I'm finna show you how this is Hebrew, because I know that's what you waiting to see.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to show me how the Hebrew
I'm I'm,
language is
fin- I'm,
actually Egyptian.
I'm finna show you, and I had to show you this first because I wanted you to see what's there right now as we speak. Before I go to the alphabet. Now I'm gonna go to the alphabet for you. This is the original Hebrew alphabet, sis, right here, as they call it anyway. But it's really Proto-Sinaitic, and Sinaitic come from Sinai. Here it is, right here. You see this
Okay.
here? The Proto-Sinaitic
Mhm.
script, right?
Okay then. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
here. That's the alphabet. Now you see
Okay.
this? You see the glyphs here?
Mhm. Mhm.
Hold up. Hey, why did it go there? Okay,
Mhm.
okay, hold
Mhm.
up. There it go, right there. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, so all of these are the glyphs right here on the side. This is what they call Hebrew, the original. This is the original. You see the serpent there, the eye? You see? All of these are glyphs, sis. All of them are glyphs. I don't know why my computer's still jumping like that. It is extra sensitive right now. But yeah, these are all glyphs here. So now when you come here, this is the hieroglyph. It's proto-Sinaitic. You see that right there along with it?
Mhm.
That's proto-Sinaitic. All of those are
Mhm.
pictorial scripts. Notice the abjad though. Remember I told you about the A, B, G, and D. You see? Now this is Phoenician. Look at the Phoenician and look at what they call Paleo Hebrew. See this is Paleo Hebrew here. This is not the original Proto-Sinaitic language that people call it. And this is Aramaic here. You was asking me about that earlier. You see
Mhm.
how they are similar but not exactly the same. They change, with variations, but you see how close they are. Now this is modern Hebrew here. You see the modern Hebrew script. This is what you see, most Hebrews demonstrating with today. You see, and this is a script that is similar, but all of this right here is coming from the hieratic alphabet of ancient Egypt. You see, this is based off the hieratic uh, cursive script of Egypt, because Egypt has a Medunetta pictorial script, and they have a cursive script. You see, so that's my proof of that right there. And I want you to study this and read this on your own time. But it is called the Proto-Sinaitic script, also called Proto-Canaanite, Old Canaanite. You
Okay.
see? Okay,
Okay.
go
So
ahead.
now let's get to the next subject.
Okay,
Because we was getting off topic. Um,
but
let's
I'm following you, sis.
okay. Let's get to the concept about the Black Indians. So,
Okay,
all right. Now, do you identify with Native American ancestry?
yes, I do, but not Native American as you understand it. The,
Okay.
the
Well,
true
how do you
Native
identify that?
the true Native Americans are the Moors.
The true Native Americans are the Moors.
The Moors. Yes, ma'am. Those are and that's why I keep saying, in order for you to be indigenous, you have to have a name that tie you to the land. And I can prove what I'm saying. You
Okay.
know,
So can't you prove that the true Indians are indeed the Moors?
okay, I'm finna give it to you right now.
Okay.
I got a whole bunch up here. I'm making sure I don't hit my little link and close us up no more, because that's what I did last time, I think. But okay, we're gonna go here first, because I got so much information in regards to dealing with this.
I do too. I do too. I got
Yeah,
some information too.
and see, me and you, what you don't know is I know where you coming from, and I
Mm,
honor where you coming from, but I'm trying to get you to see from a broader perspective. I'm not even in opposition to what you're saying. You
mm.
see, this is the story of the Delaware Moors here, for example. And it's a whole lot in here. I don't want to read everything. I just want
Okay,
to
blow
get
it
past.
up so I can see. Well, you know what? Never mind. Hold on. Okay, can't you blow the screen up a little bit?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
go ahead.
Okay. I want to get to the spot there because all of it talk about it because they actually have them here. And let me see here. There's so much here. Goodness gracious. And this is in Kent County. So these are the Moors of Sussex County, right? And it says, let me see. Uh-oh. I got so much on it.
Mhm.
I would rather give you the case law. Here it go. We'll just go right here and just give you a piece of this and let you study it on your own. Okay, down in the southern end of Delaware, thickly settled, especially about the Louise, scattered as far north as the boundary of Kent County, one finds a race of men who have been the source of wonder and puzzle to the historian of that state. They tell a curious story of Oriental origin and cling to the traditions which are wholly their own, while they are known to this day as Moors of Delaware, are an enigma to the general population about the state they inhabit. From a distance, they look like ordinary colored residents. In other words, black people. They trying to put they say of the neighborhood, but close inspection shows that they haven't the slightest trace of Negro blood in their veins. And I'm gonna show you why this is said. Indeed, some of them are so fair and so ruddy that they are often mistaken some of them for white men. In fact, this is how one day their fanciful story of descent from a captive Moor came to be ventilated in the court of justice in Sussex County in their strange history for the first time and given air to credence. So they have those who are mixed mulatto, just like your Native Americans look today. But then they have those that are dark as of the dark, when you deal with the Delaware Moors. This is one right here. These are the Delaware Moors. You got plenty of them. You got a lot of Spaniards like to mix with them. You see, these are the Moors of Delaware right here. And they are recognized by the United States, as being who they are, as Native Americans. This is their school right here. These are Moors in their own school. You see, black hair, black eyes, fair complexion sometime. They have their own schools distinct from the general public school system. You see, they neither associate with whites nor blacks. One theory has been that they are of the Moorish race and that their ancestors were Spanish Moors who wrecked on the coast more than a century ago. Another tradition represents them as descendants of the Nanticoke Indians. So these particular Moors share the status of their name Moor, but they also identified as the Nanticokes. If you're familiar with the Nanticoke tribe, it's
No, I
just
have
one.
to look into them.
You're not familiar with the Nanticokes?
No, I have to look into them. That's my first
Okay.
time.
Well, do that when you get a chance. Now I'm going to law now.
Okay, wait a minute. Now let me ask you this.
Okay,
Okay,
go
do
ahead.
you know where the Moors descended from?
Yeah, I know exactly where they descended from.
Where they come from?
The Moors descended from the land of Moab, but they descended from the land of Moab. They're ancient Moabites, and that's what I showed you in the first
And
picture.
where is the land of Moab?
The land of Moab is what we call today the land of where we call it Canaan. They call it the Garden of Eden at one time, depending on what era and time and you've been there. So this is where the original people came from. They were descendants of the ancient Cushites. You
Hmm.
see, so that chart that I put up in the beginning, that chart was showing you the picture of those Moors.
Okay, well let me before you go there, let me show you
Go ahead.
what they have to say.
And I'm glad because I'm gonna take you to the root.
Okay, let me show you what they
I
had to
know what they
say.
got to say. I know what the European got to say.
No, no,
About the
no, no,
Moors. They
no.
got a whole lot to say about the Moors.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get you there. I'm gonna get you there. I'm going to get you there. Just give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So All right, you said that the Moors came from the land of Moab,
Yep,
correct?
yep.
Okay. Now let's
Mauritania to be exact.
Mauritania, right? Okay.
To be exact, just to give you a modern expression.
Okay, let me show you something. If you can see my screen.
Oh, I see it.
Okay. Now let me show you where the Moors come from. Okay. So the Moors were the Muslim inhabitant of Maghreb. Are you familiar with Maghreb? Maghreb.
Maghreb is called the western coast of Morocco.
Okay. Yeah.
Mauritania.
The Iberian Peninsula, Sicily, and Malta during the
Yep,
Middle Ages. The
yep.
Moors initially were the indigenous Maghrebian.
You hear that? You hear
The,
that, right?
hold on. The
No,
name was the name was later also applied to Arabs.
later.
Okay. Now check this out. Moors
But
are
do you
not
see that though, right?
distinct or self-defined people. Okay. And the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica observed that the term Moor has no real ethnological value. And Europeans of the Middle Ages and the early modern period variously applied the name to Arabs, North African, Berber, and Muslim Europeans.
Okay.
Okay, so check this out. The term has been used in Europe in a broader, somewhat derogatory sense to refer to Muslim in general,
Yep.
especially those of Arab or Berber descent,
Yep.
whether living in Spain or North Africa. All right. During the colonial era, the Portuguese introduced the name of Ceylon Moors and Indian Moors in South Asia and Sri Lanka, and the Bengali Muslim who were also called Moors. In the Philippines, the long-standing Muslim community, which predates the arrival of the Spanish, now self-identifies as the Moro people, and was it Essinim introduced by Spanish colonizer due to their Muslim faith. Now, again, after reading that, right, where did the Moors originally come from?
I'm finna show you
After
right
reading that,
now.
no, after what I just read.
Yeah, I'm finna show you. Let me show you, sis. Let me show you. I just heard you. Now hear me out. Because the Britannica gave their own definition to the word
Okay,
more,
okay. Let me
right?
continue. So
Check me
while
out.
you're in the process of looking, let me
I'm
continue.
right here. I got mine. Go, if you
Okay,
got something you want to say, go ahead though.
okay,
And
hold on.
I'll come after you.
Let's look up the etymology. Okay. And this comes from the wiki source, by the way. So this is the etymology. During the classical period, the Romans interact with and later conquered part of Mauritania, a state that covered modern North Morocco, western Algeria, and the Spanish city Ceuta and Melilla. The Berber tribes of the region were noted in the classic as Mari, which was subsequently rendered as Moors in English. Okay? And in related variation in other European languages. Mari is recorded as the native name by Strabo
There you go. You read that. Now you
in
see what you
in
mean?
the early first century. This appellation was also adapted into Latin, whereas the Greek name for the tribe was Marisusi, ancient Greek. I can't
Did you
read
get
that.
what you just read though, right?
Hold on. The Moors were also mentioned by uh Tacitus as having revolt against the Roman Empire in 24 AD. Now, hold on, and let's go down here. It says during the Latin Middle Ages, Mori was used to refer to the Berbers and Arabs in the coastal region of Northwest Africa. Northwest Africa. The 16th century scholar Leo Africanus identified the Moors as the native Berber inhabitants of the former Roman Africa province, right? He described Moors as one of five main population groups on the continent alongside Egyptian, Abyssinians, Arabian, and Kafari.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so it's my turn now.
Okay. But did you understand that?
I
Did you
understand
understand that part?
everything you said, but is it my
So
turn now?
So hold on before I give you your turn.
Okay.
The Moors originally, came from what is known as Northwest Africa.
No, that's not correct. I'm
That
trying
is
to show you
correct.
something.
That's not Moab.
I'm finna listen. I'm finna show you something. I'm finna take you to the root of that word, and I'm gonna take you back to that. Cause see, what you reading is just definition. I'm giving you history. I'm finna show you something. So you see
That is
what's
the
on.
history.
Look at what I'm showing. You see you see my screen right now, right?
Okay.
You see my screen, and you read this just a few minutes ago. But I'm gonna show you something that you didn't pay attention to when you read it.
Okay, well,
This
go ahead and
is
show me something that I didn't pay attention to.
because we're talking about Mari. Mari is the original name of the Moors. This is where the etymology come from. This is where Mauritania come from. Remember, I just said Mauritania was the name in this era in time that the Moors came from before we even got into reading this. Now watch this. Listen closely. Mauritania existed as a tribal kingdom of the Berber Maury people. Now, the term Berber was not a term that was adopted by our people. That was given to the Moors by the Arabs. It means barbarians. And I'm going to show you why the Arabs called the Moors barbarians in a minute. They were known as the Maury people. Now, the records of the Phoenicians who explored North Africa or the coast from about 900 BC called the country at the extreme western degree of their known world, Muraham, which means western land. In the early 1st century, Strabo recorded Maury as the
Okay, you
native.
have a question on here, brother.
Listen to
Who
me.
named the Maury?
Listen. You say who was named who?
Who named the Maury?
Who named the Maury? That's what I'm showing you now.
Okay.
Maury as the native name of the people. Native mean that's the name they use. Now watch this. Of a people opposite of the Iberian Peninsula. This affiliation was adopted into Latin, meaning they adopted it from the native people, the Mari themselves. They didn't give them the name. Whereas the Greek name for the tribe was Marosi. And then the Mari would later bequeath their name to the Moors. So the Mari gave their name to the Moors. You see, on the Mediterranean coast of North Africa, from at least the 3rd century BC. It didn't come from no Roman, didn't come from no Latin. It came from the Mari themselves. In fact, Moor is just an English way of saying Mari, sister. Now, when you go into the history of the etymology, let me show you what a name Moor, how far back it goes. Right here. And I'm gonna yield the floor after I say this right here. Because I got it all right here in my archives. I got everything right here. So these are the Mari people here. I'm gonna show you on the map first. You know, and once you see the map, that will be one. And I got a couple of maps up here. I can stretch them out real big too. Come on, open up map. Okay, you see this here, right? This is Mari here, right? Ibericum, because they were also known in ancient time as the Ibero-Maurutians. And I'm gonna show you that. So Mauritania stretched all the way over here. The Numidian Empire, all that was considered the Moors. Iberia. You see all of that? Now, this is just one map. Now, I'm going to show you another map. I'm going to show you this. This is an old map, too, from the 1500s. It's not nothing modern, as old as they get, basically, when you come to looking at what we're talking about now. And I'm going to show you that Africa wasn't nothing but a small place at this time. So, right here, if you look at right here, you see that says Iberica Mari, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's another one. Now let me show you another map. This is dealing with tracing it back just on the map. Now, this has all over the place. Now you see right here, the Marurium here, right? This is known as the Atlas Major Minus. This is where they get the term Atlantis from. See, this here says Mauritania. Here's the Mari here, right? This is not just one spot, it's all over the place. You have the Azamor. That's a whole nother story. I'll get into that later. But you see more all over the place here. More in linear, it's everywhere. So this is the west coast of Africa where slaves was taken from. Now hold up. Here's another area here. Another map. These ancient maps now. This is a map where they actually consider Africa and Mauritania and Numidia together in these older maps, but they stopped doing that in recent times. You see it right here? Africa, Mauritania, and Numidia, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And one more map, because I think I done do justice here, but I have to show you this one right here. It wouldn't be right if I didn't show you this one. Here's the old map. This is like the first map that one of the first ever did. Now here's Africa right here in Tunisia. Africa was here in the beginning. It was not the whole country. According to this map, you see the Mari over here, but you see Mari here. You know, the everything surrounding this always been known as you got Mamarica over there. But I mean, it's just everywhere. Now let me show you the etymology of the name, tracing it back to Kemet, because that's what we
Oh,
getting at.
okay. Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and show you
I'm
something.
finna give it to you. I'm just finna show you one more thing. Not a whole lot. I'm just finna show you one more thing, sis. And I'm
Okay.
finna give it to you. Just give me a chance to rock my mic.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So let me go here. Where is it at? I got so many downloads. Oh, it's action over here. Here we go, right here. Okay. Because see, we had a brother, I had to put him in check because he was trying to go through and basically hide a bunch of truth. And these are all the root words dealing with M and R. Notice it means a god in one aspect. Mirez, you see, Mirul.
Mm-hmm.
You got this here. Mir is also a name of Amen, the god of ancient Egypt. Okay. Merit, title of one that is the eye of Heru or Ra. Meru Aku, like Morocco. You got one of the 36 decans, which are the gods of Egypt. Okay. That's all good and well, but I'm finna really give you a grand drawing in a minute. Where it is. Okay. Merua. Mary. Okay. Meruari, which actually goes into, okay, that's the Mar. That's the Mar, a Libyan king, which is in the Moorish region, the Moors. So all of it dealing with the same people. But here it go right here, Mar. You see that? I want to blow it up big for you. You see that right there? The same root of Mar in Mauritania. We see it all going toward Libya in the Moorish region, but there you have it. Mar is the name of Amen. Mar is not only a name of Amen, but Mar is also a name of the high priest of Anu, those who had the teachings of Kemet in their possession when Kemet fell, and it was the Mari who took the teachings over into what we call North Africa. So what you call Islam and the Muslims doing what they did and all that came later, and even the form of Islam that they taught wasn't the same form of Islam that the Arabs taught. They taught a more mystic or Sufistic form of Islam in Africa. That's why so much war between
Okay.
the Africans and the Muslims right now, because of the ideology, because they teach the ancient Comedian way. That's what Sufism is based on. So I
Okay.
can go further more into it, but I think you got a whole lot of evidence right there. I just showed you the root in etymology, tracing it back. Now, what else you got for me?
Okay. Now, this I want you to listen. Okay.
I will.
All right. I want you to listen very, very closely.
Oh, I will.
All right. So let me take you to my screen.
Okay. Let me put this stuff out the way so I can see her.
Hopefully, you can be able to see mine. Do you see mine?
Uh-huh. I
Okay.
see it changing over.
Okay. Now let's look up the Maury people. Okay.
Yep. Look them
So,
up.
All right, now we're right here on the Maury people.
Mm-hmm.
In the same source that you used, right? Maury, from which derives the English term Moors,
Just
was,
like I told you, right?
hold on, was the Latin designation for the Berber population of Mauritania. It was located in the part of Africa west of Numidia, an area coexistive with present-day North Morocco and northwest Algeria. All right. And then the name Maury by Strabo, who wrote in the early first century as the native name, which
Native name.
also, hold on. Yes,
Native name.
yes, which was also adapted into Latin while
Adapted into Latin.
yes,
Adopted mean it wasn't a part of it now.
hold on, let me finish. While he cites the Greek name for the same people as Mariucci, right? The
Yep.
name Mari as a tribal confederation or generic ethnic
Yep.
designator or designer, thus seems to roughly correspond to the people known as the Numidians, right?
Numidians. Numidians.
Earlier, okay, Numidians, right? In earlier ethnography, both terms presumably group early Berber speaking population, right? So, and there we go, right there.
You
All
said the
right.
same thing I just said, though, sis.
No, 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 no,
Yes,
no.
you
You didn't say
did.
something about the
Yes,
Maury
you did.
people.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What the definition of the word adopt?
Oh,
I
who?
know it. I know you know what adopt. If you adopt a child, you're adopting a child that wasn't your child originally, right?
Right, you taking in
So
someone
if
else.
this name was adopted into Latin, that means it wasn't a part of Latin in the beginning, sis.
Okay,
And it
but
was the name. Hold up, another key to this now. It was the native name. If you go back up there where you read in the beginning, native meaning it belonged to the natives. You see what I'm saying? It's not only adopted, but it's the native name that they had. And so they took that name and began to refer to them as that in their language. And then later it became Mauritania, and so forth and so on. This was actually added by the Almoravid Arabs. The Almowahidun is what they were known as, and the Almoravids. They the ones gave the term Mauritania as a whole, you see, but they were known as the Mari. That name Mari go all the way back to Lemuria. You see,
Lemuria.
they called it the lost continent. You see,
Okay,
the first continent of the people. You can't trace black back like that. You can't trace Africa back that far. I ain't trying to be
yes,
funny. We can't.
you can. You
No, you
can
can't.
trace Africa back
No,
that far.
no, you can't,
You
sis.
don't, have you? Okay,
No,
have
you
you
can't.
studied science?
No, you can't, sis. You can't trace.
Yes, you
Listen,
can.
listen to what I'm saying, sis. Listen, listen, listen. You can't trace the name Africa back. The only root of the word Africa, and I can pull the Comedian Dictionary up right now, is F-A-F-E-R and A-F-R-I, which is I fear and then I free. But you will not see African in the ancient Egyptian languages.
No,
No
no,
way.
no. Of course,
That's what
no.
I'm telling you. But you see the name more, as I showed you many a times in the ancient Egyptian language. I just showed it to you in the Medu Neter. Like a whole bunch of, you didn't see all of that I was showing you? I showed you more means Amen.
Okay,
More is also the high priest of Amen. You
okay,
see? So that name etymologically can be traced all the way back to Egypt and beyond. You
okay,
see?
okay.
In
Let's
every
talk
language.
about. Okay, let's talk about the indigenous people of America. Let's talk about the.
Okay.
Let me show you something about the indigenous
Okay.
people of America.
Go
All right.
ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
Now, you said that the indigenous people of America were Moors, correct?
They were.
Okay, let me show you something. Let me show you something. The indigenous people of the Americas are the pre-Columbian people of North, Central, and South America and their descendants.
Yep.
All right. Now listen, we're gonna go down here. It says, although some indigenous people of the Americas were traditionally hunter-gatherers, and many, especially in the Amazon basin, still are, many group practice agriculture and agriculture. The impact of the agricultural endowment to the world is a testament to their time and work in reshaping and cultivating the flora indigenous to America. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So let
Mm-hmm.
me skip down some. Okay, let's
Okay.
look at the history. All right, let's look at the history. Okay, so it says migration into the continent. All right, migration into the continent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the specific of Paleo-Indian migration and throughout the Americas, including the exact dates and routes travel, are the subject of ongoing research and discussion. According to archaeological and genetic evidence, North and South America were the last continent in the world to gain human habitation. During the Wisconsin glaciation from 50 to 17,000 years ago, falling sea levels allowed people to move across the land bridge of Beringia that joined Siberia to northwest North America, which is Alaska. Alaska was a glacial refuge because it had low snowfalls, allowing a small population to exist. The was a Laurentide ice sheet cover most of North America, blocking nomadic inhabitants and confining them to Alaska for thousands of years. All right. And then here's the part where it says about the indigenous genetic studies. Indigenous genetic studies suggest that the first inhabitants of the Americas shared a single ancestral population, one that developed in isolation, conjured, I can't even get the word out, to Beringa, right? The isolation of these people in Beringia might have lasted 10 to 20,000 years. Around 16,500 years ago, the glaciers began melting, allowing people to move south and east into Canada beyond. These people are believed to have followed herds of now extinct, what's it? Help me, how do you say this word? Pleistocene? Megaphone, was it
The
megafauna?
Pleistocene. Pleistocene.
Okay, Pleistocene. Thank
Megafauna.
you. Yeah, Pleistocene's megafauna along ice-free corridors that stretch between Laurentide and Calorian ice sheet. Okay.
And it's still not giving the name of the people. So,
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold
okay,
on.
okay, go ahead.
Hold on. Now, right down here where it says another route proposed involves migration either on foot or using primitive boats along the Pacific Northwest coast of the South, including as far as South America. Archaeological evidence of the latter would have been covered by the sea level rise of more than 120 meters since the last ice age. The time range of 40,000 to 16,500 years ago is debatable and probably will remain so for years to come. The few agreements achieved to date include origin from South Siberia, right?
Mm-hmm.
DNA studies report in 2012 indicate the area of was Alti Republic with a separation of population 20,000 to 25 years ago, and widespread habitation of the Americas during the end of the last glacial period, or more specifically, what is known as the late glacial maximum, around 16,000 to 13,000 years before present. All right, so now let's go down where it says in 2014.
Uh-oh.
Yes, in 2014, the autosomal DNA was a sequence of a 12,500 plus year old infant from Montana who remains were found in close association with several Clovis artifacts. These are the Anzique one remains from the Anzique Clovis burial in Montana. The data indicate that the individual was closely related to present North American Native American population, but the DNA was ancestral to present day South American and Central American Native American population. The implication is that there was an early divergence between North American indigenous people and those of Central and South America. Ruled out were hypotheses which persist that invasion subsequent to the Clovis culture overwhelmed or assimilate previous migrants into America. After study, the remains were returned to Montana for burial by Native Americans. Now, I just read this to you so far.
Yeah,
Nowhere,
but it still ain't told you who the people were.
nowhere did it prove that it was the Moors.
You know why? Because what you
Nowhere,
read,
nowhere.
what
Because
you
let me
what
tell
you
you why.
read.
You know where the Siberian people came from?
Listen to what I'm saying. What
Hold on.
you read,
I'm
I'm finna
asking
give
you,
you
do you
this
know where
one.
the Siberian people came from?
I know where the people Siberian come. It's telling you
Where did
right
they
there.
come
You
from?
know where they come from.
Tell me where they came from.
Siberian people are from this particular part of the planet. But what I'm trying to get
No.
on,
Tell me exactly geographical region where the Siberian
Siberia,
people come from.
Siberia, sis, Siberia. But listen to what I'm saying. But
Okay,
listen to what I'm
where is
saying.
Siberia? Where was Siberia at?
Siberia is in America, sis. But listen to
No,
what
no,
I'm
no,
saying.
no, 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 no,
Oh
no, no,
my
no, no,
God.
no, 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 no. Siberian people was not in America.
Yes, they are. A few of them
No,
are. But
no, no,
listen
no,
to
no,
what I'm
no.
saying.
No, the Siberian people will be in the region what we know today as Europe and Asia.
Oh my goodness, sis. You got to remember this right here. When you
That's
deal
where
with
they come
people, they
from.
migrate.
Nowhere did it state that the Moors.
They migrate. But listen to what I'm trying to show you. You ain't even gave me
No,
a chance to even go into speaking yet. What you giving me is basically, you got to remember, that's Wikipedia, right? Nothing wrong with that. But these
okay,
are
you
different.
use Wikipedia.
Listen to me. I'm not going against that. You got to
Most,
remember, these are
yeah, for
different
most
people.
part, you use Wikipedia.
Listen to me. Listen to me. These are different people's opinion. But what I'm trying to say is this: I went and showed you supporting the information from Comedian documents on the other aspect. Then I showed you the Delaware Moors. I showed you the Delaware Moors were indigenous to this land. So you got to remember, European DNA is mixed up, sis. So when it comes
So
down
it's
to
African people DNA.
hold up, listen to
Everybody's DNA is mixed up. See, let's go to DNA. Hold on. Everybody's
listen.
DNA is mixed
I
up.
want
It's
to deal with this first. I don't want to leave this here yet because I got to come back at that particular mention. We can't leave that as a closed thing. Ain't that fair? I know it's your platform, but isn't it fair for me to
hold on. Wait a minute.
give my business on what you said?
Hold on. Let me correct something.
Okay,
It
go
ain't
ahead.
just a European. Hold on. It ain't just a European that has admixtures. We all got admixtures.
We know this. We know this, but that ain't nothing to get sidetracked by. But what I'm saying is that if you listen to what I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to show you truth of the matter. Now I'm going to show you the real indigenous people of this special country. I just showed you the aspect of dealing with the Moors. Let me show you what the Europeans said in their own law when they enslaved our people. Here you go right here. Check this out. I hear where you're coming from. This is what
I got
George,
some more information to show you.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. But
I got some more information. I got some more information.
You just read a whole bunch. Look here. It says this is George Washington now. You see, at the 1774 First Continental Congress. Now, this is what he said. If we would agree to take the fezzes and turbans off of the Moors' heads and remove the sandals from their feet and enforce severe punishments, and also swear a death oath between ourselves to religiously and faithfully not allow anyone to teach the Moorish children who they are, who they really were, who their forefathers were, and only allow Moorish children to be taught that they were only truly Negroes, black people, and colored folks. 200 years from the day the Moorish people would not know their nationality, nor their national name of their fathers. Also, they would not know from which land or ancestors that they are descended from. Now, this is George Washington, one of the founders of America, saying this. So this alone lets you know who we are as a people. Now, watch this. I got one more. Let's go to Abraham Lincoln. This is stuff that's in the law book. This legal stuff here, right? Listen to
Okay.
what. Listen, I'm finna give it back to you. Abraham Lincoln, as a lawyer, before he became the president, he was representing a brother in the courts. He said, "My client is not a Negro. Though it is a crime to be a Negro, no crime to be born with a black skin. But my client is not a Negro. His skin may not be as white as ours, but I say he is not a Negro. Though he may be a Moor." Mr. Lincoln interrupted Judge Davis, scarcely able to restrain a smile. "You mean a Moor, not more?" "Well, Your Honor, more, and not C.H. Moore," replied Mr. Lincoln, with a sweep of his long arm toward the table, meaning he was pointing at the man where Moore and I sat. He said, "I say my client may be a Moor, but he is not a Negro." Now, this is one aspect of it, right? Now, under the Negro Acts, let me show you what they said about the Indians and the Moors, and I'm giving it to you right here. This is what they said about the Negroes and the Moors. Now, this is statements from them that a lot of our people never seen.
Oh,
Never
and
heard.
I got some information, but yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead. Put it up.
I'm giving it to you straight from them now. They saying we Moors. George Washington letting you know they wanted to keep us from knowing that we were Moors. So that's good enough right there in and of itself. But going back to the original thing that I put out here before, and I was talking about the Cushites and all that, those who came from the lineage of Put, from the line of Ham or Cam, this was the son of Cush, North African nations in the ancient Numidians, Mauritanians, modern Berbers, and Kabyles, and Tuaregs, and Moors. These were the Putites, you see? And this also is the bloodline here. I just wanted to give you that. So when you say Put, these are the Putites right here. You see the name? Mari, Moor, the Numidian Moors. You see that right there at the bottom? That's why I'm telling you, when I put this together, I know what I was doing. You see, so this is well researched, sis. I've been doing this 30 years. So I ain't gonna give you something that I can't go back and show you the receipts on. So that being said, this is my last measure here, and I want to hear from you. It's small, nothing major. This is dealing with the 1940 Negro Acts.
Okay, well, here's something. All right. Do you know what the Negro Acts was?
I'm finna show you what it was. It was to enslave us, but I'm showing you where they took the name. They basically enslaved the Moors. Well, they didn't consider us slaves. They considered everybody else basically slaves, and they say that the Moors wasn't slaves. They
What?
only, yeah, that's what they said.
Who is they?
I'm finna show it right here. And the reason why is because we was indigenous to the land, sis.
No, no,
I'm,
no,
I'm
no,
finna
no,
show you
no,
right here.
no, no,
I'm finna show you right
no,
here. These are
no,
the Negro Acts right here.
no.
I'm gonna show you what they say, not what I say. I'm gonna show you what the Europeans say. As soon as I find this particular measure right here. And I actually, you know what? I actually got it right here.
Oh,
But I
basically
don't
you
want to
can't
switch
find it.
that one. Huh?
Basically, you can't find it.
I can't find it?
You can't
Okay.
find the
I'm
information.
gonna show it to him. Just tell him to be patient. I ain't gonna hold him all day. I'm going into my screenshots because I know I got it there. And I'm gonna just run through it and get it out. That way I ain't got to hold y'all up too much. Let me get over here. Okay. And it's right over in here. I'm finna pull it up right now. Just give me a matter of a second, and I'm finna pull it up right here. Okay, that's modern Britain. Okay, there it go right there. I ain't gonna never tell you I can pull something up and I can't pull it up. I promise you that. Here it is right here. There it is right there. This is from the Negro Acts. Listen to this. The term Negro is confined to a slave, Africans, the ancient Berbers, and their descendants. It does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, such as the Egyptians, Moors, or the Negro Asiatics, such as the Lascars. This is what they declared. That's why when Abraham Lincoln went to go in there and represent that brother, he say he is a Moor, not a Negro. Because a
Show me
Negro,
where Abraham Lincoln said that the brother was a Moor.
that's what I just showed you. You didn't see me read that to you earlier?
Did that come from Abraham
That
Lincoln?
came from him. If you type it up, you can see it where he said it.
What's the
I'm gonna
title?
do it. I'm gonna type it in and let you see it.
What's
And
the
it's
title?
it's all out there. Just put Abraham Lincoln represented a Moor and just type it in. It ain't nothing made up, sis. I'm finished. I'm gonna take you to it.
Okay, you do know that the Egyptian wasn't brought here to America, right? As slaves. You do know that, right?
I didn't say Egyptian were brought here. I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
just saying
I'm
that's
pretty
why they
sure.
aren't.
I'm pretty sure people that had Comedian bloodline were brought here because the blood of the Moors come from Egypt. So the bloodline may be there, but exactly going to Egypt, I don't doubt it, but I don't really find it that
Bloodline
much.
of the Moors come from Egypt?
Yes, it do. I just showed you that.
No, no.
Yeah, they come from the. You got it. Where do you think the people of Africa come from, sis? All the bloodline came through Ham, sis.
No,
Ham was an
no,
Egyptian.
no, 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 no,
Sis, Ham was an Egyptian, sis. Ham was an Egyptian. Every blood, the Nigerians, the who else?
no,
The Chileans, everybody in Africa come through the bloodline of Ham, sis. You
no,
don't know that?
no,
You don't know that, sis?
no,
Come on, sis. Now don't do me wrong like that. Now you
no,
got to be sharper than that. You don't know that all the bloodline come from Ham.
no,
It was Egyptian, sis. The
no,
original bloodline come out of Egypt. Even the Akkadians.
no,
The Akkadians were born through the lineage of Ham. They came
no,
through Nimrod,
no,
Sumar.
no.
That's why they were known as the
No, he's
Sumar.
not Kenny. Kenny, no, he is not. No, no, no,
You
Kenny.
know what I'm talking about. I guarantee you,
No,
there's somebody that studied
no, no,
like
no,
I
no.
studied, they know the truth. And I guarantee you, it's
Okay, let me read you something about the Black Indians. Okay, let
sis,
me
there
read
ain't
you
no
something.
such
Hold
thing
on,
as
let me read
black
you something
Indians
about the Black
outside
Indians.
what the European said, sis.
Let me. No, no, no. I have a book right here.
I
I have a
got
book
books
right
in here too.
here.
But
Okay,
but, but there's no such
hold on.
thing as
See,
a black Indian though.
hold
Other
on.
than
Let me show you. Let
European,
me tell you what the Black Indians are. Okay. All right. Do you see this book? Everybody, it's called Black Indians. All right. So let's read the beginning of the chapter. All right. To find out who and what was the Black Indian. All right. So now we on chapter 1. All right. Today, most Black Indians do not live in the forest or on the broad plains of the United States. Most do not inhabit government reservation set aside for Native Americans, right? Any more than most Indians do. To be sure, they crowd, for example, the Shinnecock Reservation on New York's Long Island, but many more walk the crowded streets of nearby New York City. They are found in abundance in the cement carverings of Boston, Chicago, Denver, Cleveland, and Detroit. They have made a long march from farms, woods, and ranches, right? Okay. And to skyscrapers, subways, and ghettos. Most have arrived with only a faint recollection of their adventurous rural heritage and gallant ancestors. The people they meet in school, at work, or play cannot appreciate their background because they know nothing about it. It says, if you know I have a history, you will respect me. A Black Indian student told a conference of New York teachers in 1968. Her words still reign true. Those who assume that a people have no history worth mentioning are likely to believe they have no humanity worth defending. And historical legacy strengthens a country and its people. Denying a people's heritage question their legitimacy. All right, citizens celebrate this country, daring break from colonial rule, and rejoice the bloody Minutemen who challenged the British at Lexington and Concord. But a month before those historic skirmishes on the path to freedom, other Americans were pursuing the same goals. Slaves in Ulster County I just said chapter one, brother. Slaves in Ulster County, New York, plan a massive armed rising. Perhaps they have heard the exciting patriotic talk about liberty and independence. Their liberation plot involves slaves in Kingston, Hurley, and Marbletown in upwards of 500 Native Americans. Unlike the Minutemen, their shout was not heard around the world. Their bold conspiracy never found its way into our history books. And these dark people in Ulster County, like thousands of others mentioned in this book, made their contribution to freedom and to their immediate relatives and friends. But other Black Indians made a contribution to the entire United States. I mean, yeah, the United States society that deserved consideration. All right. And so let's look at this. Let me also read this. It goes into the proud legacy. In the early centuries of their life in the Americas, Black Indians often create society that might have been a model for everyone. They demonstrated that there was another path through the wilderness than the one had out by a European lust for gold, land, and power. Their communities proved bigotry did not rise naturally from American soil. Its plans and waters. Bigotry and the appetite for it were imported. They traveled the stormy Atlantic and speedily transplanted and nourished by those who carried them over. If they had been of a mind too, right? Europeans might have learned something from the dark people they selfishly used. Instead, they gathered these people's precious gifts and offered promises in return. Africans and Indians follow a tradition that rarely wrote matters down, but held to verbal promises. Europeans wrote many, many things down, but failed to keep to their promises or treaties. What followed in the New World was a titanic European battle for the control of dark people and natural resources. Europe marched out its best soldiers to secure a continent and subdue its people. All right. And the result was unending conquest and agonizing slavery. So now that's just a little intro. I'm going to read to you. I am going to read to you about the Native Americans. All right. All right.
Okay,
They
I'm
not
listening.
know about.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm listening. Go ahead, Queen.
Okay. So now it says, but in 1763, the British claimed Florida, and Spanish helped relocate these Black Indians family to Cuba and to freedom. Around this time, British colonists in the southern colonies began introducing the practice of African slavery among neighboring Native Americans. They concentrated on the Five Nation, Cherokees, Chickasaw, Chickaw, Creeks, and Seminoles as the largest body of Indians present on their borders. Their aim was to make their slave property more secure by making Indians partners in the system. Indians who accepted slavery, they reasoned, would not take in fleeting runaways. Now, with that being said, okay, who were the Black Indians? The Black Indians were African descendant people that was mixed with Native American. And how did they come about? Because the Native American owned African slaves. And not only that, they had relations with those African slaves. All right. And so the Seminoles, right? The Black Seminoles are the prime example. Okay. You had a bunch of Black Seminoles in Florida because the Africans that were runaway slaves, they went over to Florida. They met up with the Seminoles. Again, they had a relationship with them. And that's how you got the Black Seminoles. And either you're going to find out also that these same Seminoles, right, the same Black Seminoles went over to Mexico, which is why you got the Afro-Mexicans over there because of the Seminoles. So they are African descendants. So, okay. So your argument about, if you're going to say the Moors, were the Black Indians. Technically speaking, the Moors are African people of African descent. So you got to say that they were mixed with Native American ancestry. So because the Moors were nothing more
The
than
Moors are the
tribe,
Native
they
Americans.
hold on, they were nothing more than the Berber tribe that came from Northwest Africa.
Sis,
That's what they was.
The Moors are the Native Americans. That's what I'm trying to get you to see.
No,
Now
no,
look at
no.
this.
They
Look
are
at this.
mixed with Native American. They
Look,
are
look,
African
look at
descendant
this.
people.
Look at this. This is a
They
book
are
written.
African descendant people. Period.
Listen to me. Look at this here, right? This is a book written in the 1800s. It's called The Ancient and Modern Britons, right? You see it on my page here?
Hold on. Before you go there,
Okay.
I got something I want to show you.
Okay. I seen what you just said. I got it in front of me. I'm looking at it.
No, 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 no.
Everything you told me.
I got something I want to show you.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Now let's look at Black Indians in the United States. That's gonna back up my argument. All right. So I read you the book, right? And I gave you the little brief introduction of what the book was about. So check this out. The Black Indians are Native American people defined as Native American due to being affiliated with Native American communities and being culturally Native American, who also have significant African American heritage. Many indigenous people of the eastern woodlands, such as Negrasset, Peacocks, and Wampanoag, I can't even say these words. Was it Shinkat, as well as people from nations historically from the southeast, such as the Cheetah Creek and Cherokee, have a significant degree of African and often European ancestry. Okay. And with that being said, historically, certain Native Americans tribes have had close relation with African Americans, especially in regions where slavery was prevalent and where free people of color have historically reside. Members of the five civilized tribes participated in holding enslaved African Americans in Southeast, and some enslaved or formerly enslaved people migrated with them to west on the Trails of Tears. Have you heard of Trails of Tears?
I'm familiar with all the African tribes, sis. That's ancient
No, 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 no.
information.
I asked you, are you familiar with Trail of Tears?
Of course.
Okay, now let's continue on. In 1830 and later during the period of Indian removal, right, in peace treaties with the U.S. after the American Civil War, the slave-holding tribes, which had sided with Confederacy, were required to emancipate slaves and give them full citizen rights in their nation. In controversial action since the late 20th century, the Cherokee, Creek, and Seminole nations tightened their rules for membership and at time of excluded freemen who did not have least one ancestor listed as Native Americans. All right, and on the earlier 20th century, uh, was it Days Rose? This exclusion was later appealed in courts, both because of the treaty condition and in some cases because of possible inaccuracies in some of the roles. The Chickasaw Nation never extended citizenship to Chickasaw freemen. Okay, so I just gave you the answer. And I just proved to you who they were. Now I got some more stuff there I want to show you. All right. I got some more stuff that I want to show you to back it up. All right, here it goes. The Indian connection. A simple question about her father's red hair led Deborah Tucker to her American Indian ancestry. It also launched 2 decades of detective work into little explored subject on racial mixing between African Americans and American Indians. In the process, raising the controversial M word miscegenation. Few of us are pure Africans, said Tucker, one of the country's leading researchers into the historical link between two people who suffered at the hands of Americans. You hear a lot about the missing of blacks and whites. You hear a lot about whites and Native Americans, but the interaction between Native Americans and African Americans have been sadly neglected in U.S. history. All right, and this come from Quista, Quista.com or Questa.com. And Tucker fascination with the bond between red and black was sparked in 1976 when she quizzed her grandmother about her father's red hair. The whispered answer began with a story of Irish ancestry, but spawned into the revelation that her paternal great grandmother might have been full-blooded Indian, probably Cherokee. Tucker already had inkings of some Indian lineage on her mother's side. Now, and then what? Let me skip on down here, and it says there is little primary source material because slaves were forbidden to learn to read and write, and most Native Americans did speak English, let alone read or write. She explained. Moreover, the bulk of record data about slaves concerned those held on plantation who never escaped to freedom, or as detailed the lives of those who fled to free territory in the north. Complicating the formula further is the fact that some African Americans trace their Native American heritage more indirectly through their white ancestors who were mixed race. All right. And see, that's one source. Okay. So here's another source. All right. And this is what it has to say. America's second large Indian tribe expels black. Right. And this comes from NPR.org. And it says the Cherokee Nation recently stripped citizenship from a majority of African American who descend from slaves of wealthy Cherokee Indians before the Civil War. Host Mitchell Martin discussed this controversial move with MacArthur Fellow Taya Miles, who studied interrelation histories of African Americans and Native Americans. Now, this article was written on September 20th, 2011. All right. It said Mitchell Martin. I am Mitchell Martin, and this Tell Me More from NPR News. All right. So let's read down here real fast. Okay. It says some well-to-do Native Americans also own slaves. In fact, the late Cherokee Nation principal Chief Wilma McKillop wrote in her autobiography that, quote, the truth is that the practice of slavery will forever cast a shadow on the great Cherokee Nation, unquote. Indeed, that shadow continues today in the latest iteration over the debate over just who to include as member of the Cherokee Nation. The Cherokee Supreme Court has stripped some of the slave descendants, known as freemen, of their Cherokee citizenship in the decision last month. All right, and then it's also said we wanted to learn more about about this history and the interesting intersection histories of African Americans and Native Americans. So we called upon Tyler Miles. She is a professor of chair of the Afro American and African Studies Department at the University of Michigan. She's also the author of several books on the subject of African American and Cherokee history, including The House on Diamond Hill, a Cherokee plantation story. All right. And this is where she goes on and says, sure, where African Americans actually, African and Native Americans people first met each other during the colonial era. So that would have been in the 1500s when Africans were brought to Americas as both slaves and indentured servants. That relationship then took a number of twists and turns over time. And one of the most difficult, the 1800s, the 19th century, when some Native Americans in the South began to owning blacks as slaves. All right, that is now here's another source. Okay, it says how Native Americans adopted slavery from white settlers. All right. And it says, and this was written on December 26th of 2018. All right, and it comes from Aljaria.com. And it says last week marked the 153rd anniversary Ratification of the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1865, rightly celebrated as a milestone for the Black American community. The 13th Amendment led to the eventual liberation of all African Americans enslaved in the United States of the 19th century. But the 13th Amendment did not free all Black enslaved people in the boundaries of modern day U.S. And then it says members of the five Native American nations, the Cherokee, Chickasaw, and Creek and Seminole nations, known as the five tribe, owned black slaves, then located outside the territorial boundaries of the U.S. in a region known as Indian Territory. These sovereign nations were not affected by proclamation or constitutional amendments. Instead, separated treaties had to be made between the U.S. and these Native American nations, not only to free enslaved people, but also to formally end the American Civil War battles and antagonism between American and Native American troops. All right. Now it says captivity and slavery among Native Americans. How did that come about? Okay, the indigenous people of North America had utilized a form of captive taking and involuntary labor long before European contact, but this form of bondage was neither transgenerational nor permanent. Captive taking was most often used to replace a dead loved one within the family with a new person. The captive would then take on this deceased person's sexual or labor related capacities, right? Through various avenues such as sexual relationship, adoption, hard work, military service, or escape, captives could enhance their status or even assume new identities. After European contact in the 1500s, white Europeans persuaded Native Americans to enslave members of other Native American tribes using the European method of slave trading, which focused on the accumulation of captives for sale and thus profit rather than for population augmentation. Then it says Native American slave trade thrived for over a century, but began to be largely phased out in the early to mid 18th century. An important factor in its decline was the Yamasee War of 1715 to 1717. After colonists in the English colony of Carolina began defaulting on some of their trade agreements and enslaving even members of their ally tribe, the Yamasee nation began to question its own alliances with Carolina, along with the lower Creeks of the Savannahs. The Yamasees declared war on Carolina, killing 400 colonists, approximately 7% of the white population. The Carolinian colonists put together a force of black slaves, militiamen, volunteer, and friendly Native American nations who defeated the Yamasee and their allies. See, that's the part that people don't know about.
I'm
All
familiar
right,
with the
hold
history.
on. Hold on. It says while the Yamasee lost, they succeeded in forcing European colonists to reconsider the risks inherent in the system of Native American enslavement. If Native American became angry at the terms of enslavement or allied Native Americans were accidentally enslaved, they might once again retaliate militarily. In addition, enslaved Native Americans often successfully escaped from their owners as, hold on, escape from their owners as they were familiar with the geography and could elude slave catchers and return to their homelands. Therefore, after Yamasee War, the African transatlantic slave trade to North America's colony drastically increased to account for the loss of Native American slaves. All right, and it says some of the members of the five tribe became owners of enslaved black women and men themselves as they increasingly adapt to Euro Americans norms, such as style address governmental structure beginning in the late 1700s and intensifying in the early 1800s. Member of the five tribes used enslaved black women and men as a domestic and agricultural laborers. For example, the Chickasaw planters exploited an estimate 1,000 bales of cotton in 1830. This cotton was picked and processed by black slaves. Comparatively, in 1826, the state of Georgia produced 150,000 bales of cotton. And so you get that part right. Okay. Now here's another one. I don't do advertisement. All right. Exactly how black is Black America. All right. And this come from the root. All right. And this was written by Henry Louis Gates Jr. on February 11th of 2013. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna I'm gonna find this
Well, while you
because
looking,
I know you gave me something. Hold on. Hold on.
you
Okay.
know,
So
you done
now,
had the flow by 20 minutes now.
okay, yo, you on my platform, honey. You on my
Yeah, I
platform.
gotta respect
Hold
that
on,
now.
I gave you.
But
Hold on, hold on. I
I'm
gave
a
you the
guest.
opportunity to speak. I gave
I'm
you
a
all
guest.
the opportunity to speak the whole entire time. So
No,
don't do
I
it.
didn't give
No,
my message and stood down. I thought it was we exchanged. I didn't
I,
know it was a
I
situation.
gave you the opportunity to speak. I let you do what you had to do. So now you tell me I can't do the same.
I'm not saying nothing. All I did is set my measure out there. But if we dialoguing with each other, sis, you should give
Yeah,
your guests a
we can
chance to
dialogue,
be
but
able
you
to
know what
give
I'm saying?
their
We are
measure.
dialoguing.
You should give your guests
But
the opportunity to speak, though.
okay, I have given you the opportunity to speak the whole entire time. I didn't really say much. You did a lot of speaking. You did a
Sis,
lot of
you was back and forth the whole time, and you actually was cutting me off. But I didn't
no,
say
I
nothing.
didn't cut you all the way off. No, I didn't. I asked some
I
questions.
didn't say nothing. I wasn't upset or nothing. I respect your platform.
No,
All
I
I'm
didn't cut
saying
you
is
all the way
give
off.
me a chance
I
to
let you do all
respond.
the talking. I
All I'm
let you do
saying
all
is
the talking. I
all
asked
I'm
some
saying
questions.
all I'm saying is give me a chance to respond to your measures.
What
You
you mean?
see,
I did give you a chance to respond.
the
I
one
gave
you
you a
just
chance.
set out then, you set one out, but you haven't given me a chance to respond. You've been going on for the last 20 minutes. But I
Okay,
mean, you got
you
more.
know what? Because I was
I
showing you
have,
the sources. I was showing you the source to debunk your
yeah,
argument that the
but
Moors were the Indians. That's
and
where I was going.
and you didn't give me a chance to set the information out to show you that because you started going on to try to debunk, but I'm trying to
I
give
know
you
I did
information.
debunk. I did debunk.
Okay, sis. Well, okay, you asked me about the Abraham. First and foremost, let me say this.
I
This
didn't
my
ask you about
family. This
Abraham. No,
my
I didn't ask
family
you about
right
Abraham.
here, right?
I asked you about Abraham Lincoln.
Hold up. This my family right here. This my dad and my uncle, auntie, my grandma, full-blooded Cherokee. You know,
Okay,
this all
hold
my
on, wait a
this
minute.
them, right? Hold up, check it. I'm just responding to what you got, just briefly. You asked me to show you where Abraham Lincoln said that we was Moors. So I'm giving you this source. I ain't gonna read it. I already read it to you. Go to the Huffington Post right here, and there are also other one. They actually show you the book that it was wrote in. If you go look up the statement, so when you go look for that, that's there. I ain't gonna expound on it. This is dealing with the color terminology for race here that I referred to earlier about the different races, the Ethiopian, the Black, the Caucasian, Mongolian. It was originated by European people. So this is special measure here dealing with the race and Black people here. This is where this is coming from ancient and modern Britons. They said Black or Kara has a meaning of dependency and servitude, while white or Ak has that of sovereignty and freedom. But these colors are employed only so long as they really describe the position of a tribe. So black and white didn't even have to do with erasing people back in this time. It had to do with your status. It say for if a dependent horde became independent and sovereign, the former Kara or black would be changed into Ak, white. So if you was considered a slave at one time and you became a dominant person, regardless of your color, they established that you was a white person, but it had nothing to do with your flesh or your skin. This is the way they taught it where it come from, right? So this is why Europeans call themselves white and they called us black because they knew what the terms represented. This is in their book. This whole book not only gives that, but it also gives the history on the indigenous Moors to the Americas. Not only indigenous Moors to America, but indigenous Moors also to the Great Britain, to Russia, everywhere. We was everywhere, sis. And this a
Okay.
European wrote this book during the 1800s.
Okay, okay. Let me read something. Hold
So
on. Let's stop.
that
Go back
debunked
up real.
everything that
Hold
you
on. Go
just
back up
said.
real fast. Go
Huh?
back up real fast.
What? Right here?
Just go back up real fast.
What about? Tell me when to stop. Let me move slow.
Okay. Now I'm gonna read this myself.
Tell me. Oh, what I just read. You want to read it yourself?
I'm gonna read it
Okay,
myself.
go ahead. Right here.
Okay.
That's where I started at.
That's where you started it. It says,
Right here.
now, before going further, it is necessary to look into this last statement pretty closely. For the origin of this nomenclature may be found to lie very deep. I find it stated elsewhere that the Tatarian tribes are very fond of expressing by certain colors the changes of political condition to which a nation may be subjected. Black or Kara has the meaning of dependency and servitude, while white or ak has that of sovereignty and freedom. But these colors are employed only so long that they really describe the position of a tribe. So, okay, now where does it state anything about the Moors?
I'm finna show you. In this whole book is talking about the Moors.
It
That's
ain't talking about the Moors in that
yes,
book.
it is in this whole book here. It's just talking about black being a slave and a serf here. But I'm finna show you when it speak about the Moors here. This whole book is this European talk about the Moors being those who are the original people everywhere. He talking about the people in Siberia, Asiatic origin here. I'm finna show it to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the whole book is dedicated to it. Not just one
Oh,
part of it, neither. That's the crazy part about it.
oh boy.
Check
Oh
me out.
goodness.
Check me out. You say show it to you. I'm finna show it to you right now.
Whew.
Because he broke down every nation in here, sis. But he gonna tell you the Moors was the original people in Britain. He'd go right here.
Where?
Okay, that's one
It
aspect.
says the painted Moors.
Okay, here we go. Marus is a word which suggests a great deal. It has this in common with the Ugarian word kara and kira, the same words they were using when they was talking about status. It says previously glanced at, it said that it only not only signifies swarthiness of skin, but is radically connected with marsh and morash, and they talking about the land basically. In Scotland, one meaning Morris, meaning Latin, Polish. It say the words marsh meaning morass or marish, mears, more, mere. They showing you the history of the name. Then they go into the aspects of Mara, more, the name of the sea, Latin mere. This is etymology they dealing with. Then they go into the African and Asiatic tongue, showing you that's where the origin of it is at. Now watch this. He finna tell you where these people live and who the people are. The word more. He goes into that aspect, dealing with the
Okay,
seafaring.
what source are you using?
Huh?
What source
This
are you
is a
using?
book, sis, from the
Oh,
1800s. I
what's the
use
name of the
ancient
book?
sources. Ancient and modern Britain, sis. Ancient and modern Britain. This I read ancient books because the
Okay,
older the
see,
book
that's the
is,
problem. You're reading
no, look,
ancient stuff.
the
You
older
have
the
to
book,
upgrade from that.
the older the book is, sis, the better because everything else is based off of
No.
this. All other information in bibliography come from ancient sources. The more ancient, the more accurate, sis.
You gotta upgrade from that. You gotta get
Listen,
into the
sis.
science.
Listen to what I'm saying. It says Maurentius, Morris. Extensions connects to the word Morin. It says the root means dark red, copper color, all of that. Moravia is said to receive its name from the chief river of Moravia. Now watch this, because I don't want to go through the whole thing. Then it goes into the aspects of the consideration of this word and localization of races, thus name is not relevant at this point. For although it may not be easy to trace the root hither or the date of their arrival, a branch of this family did inhabit Britain, not only known as Mari and Moors, but as the Moravienses. You see? And it goes on. This is Britain now. They inhabited. You got the Scottish Moors. It was Moors that was Scottish in that particular area. Not only Scottish Moors, it get better. Oh yeah. And they telling you who
Okay,
the
then.
original
Okay, well, you know
inhabitants.
what?
Let me
Okay,
show you pictures of them. That's the
okay.
better thing. So you won't think I'm tripping. I'm gonna show you pictures of them.
Nah, you are tripping.
I'm finna show you the pictures of them. I'm gonna show you the pictures of the Moors in Britain. They was
Oh
kings.
goodness.
I'm telling you now.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm finna show them to you. We got, man, them people worship us over there.
Mm-mm.
They worship us over there. Real talk.
Mm-mm.
I ain't gonna tell you nothing I can't give you no receipts to, since I keep telling you. You know the Moors in England right here. This is all England, sis. These are kings in England right here. Moors. You see that? That's
Hmm.
Moor in England. Here go nothing right here. Here go, they all over the place. Other pictures of the Moors in England right here.
Mm-mm.
This is another one in England. All of this is in England. So they even got a heritage with shields with our names on them. That's a Moorish queen that was running England. Right there. Here.
Okay.
Here's more. It's a whole bunch of it up here now. This
Okay.
is
Okay.
this is engraved in the walls of England over here.
Okay.
This
You
our
know.
people all
Okay.
over England. You see
Okay.
that? That's
Okay.
all in England. Look
Look.
at this.
Look.
You see
Look.
that?
Look,
You didn't
brother.
know that history right there. I'm
I
teaching
can
you.
guarantee you that those pictures that you're showing me, those are African descended people.
This is in England. All of this is
But
from
they're
England.
African descended.
They are more, sis. Look at that. You see
And,
what that say?
okay.
Look
Let's
at that. You see
look.
that?
This is
These
what
are
I'm doing.
more.
Okay,
These
we're
are
gonna
more.
conclude this argument. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're gonna conclude this argument. They are African descended people. Moors are African descended people. Okay. That's all to it. They are descended people of Africa. All right. So all the pictures that you're showing African descended people. You know what I mean? So you can't sit here and tell me that you're Moor and you don't claim your African ancestry. That doesn't make any sense. You can't say that. That's absolutely ludicrous. You can't do that. How do you claim to be a Moor? Hold on. How do you claim to be a Moor?
Right, sir.
Yes, I'm gonna have to mute your mic because I'm making a point. I'm making a point here, and I want you to listen.
You were matured in that.
Be a Moor. Listen. How do you claim to be a Moor if you don't claim your African ancestry? How do you claim to be a Moor? That doesn't make any sense. Answer that.
Answer a plan we believe is Moors, and it's in one small statement. The Moorish Americans are descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. No one is against Africa, sis. You won't give me a chance to talk.
You didn't say all that. You said something about Moab.
You won't let me give you a chance. You won't give me a chance to say nothing. You trying to defend, and I'm trying to show you where unity is. I'm not trying to show you where I'm opposing you. I'm trying to show you where we was inhabiting this whole planet. I'm not trying to argue or debate with you. My knowledge is based on you 99 people. You see, we was kings and queens before we became slaves, sis. Far as dealing with Native Americans, we are the true Native Americans. By the name Moor, we are indigenous to this land. And that's the only way that you can have power is that you grab your indigenous name. Black is not an indigenous name. That's not an attack. I'm just telling you the truth. Africa is not an indigenous name for us over here.
Okay, brother. Okay, brother. Time out. That's somebody that got a question.
Okay.
Why do we only deal with Moorish history when it's AD Islamic religion / history?
That's his opinion of that history. I'm showing you Moorish history go beyond Islam, brother. We don't even teach Islam as they teach it. I told you the Moorish history is the preserving of the ancient knowledge of our ancestors. And I'm gonna give it to you like this. Do you know who G.M. James is, Queen? You ever heard of G.M. James?
Who is that?
He the brother. You ever heard of the book called Stolen Legacy?
Yes.
He the brother that wrote that book, and he was killed. Yeah. He was killed for revealing this knowledge, right? They killed him for telling the truth about who our people are. And in that
Well,
book,
you know what? Some of the information have been proven to be debunked, though.
nah, it ain't been debunked. They just ain't ran into the right one. They ain't ran into me. Ain't one of them individuals out there talking. They ain't ran
They
into
ain't
me
running to you.
because I'm giving the truth. Whether
Okay,
you,
brother. Okay,
that's
okay.
on
I
you.
tell you what.
That's on you. You see what I'm saying? Whether you accept it or not, I ain't gonna force it on you.
Okay,
I'm giving
okay.
you
I
what's
tell you
good.
what.
I gave documents for everything I said, didn't I? I
Okay,
told you somewhere everything I said,
look,
right? Right or wrong?
brother. It
Right
was
or
nice
wrong,
talking to
King?
you, but I
Right
gotta
or
get
wrong,
going.
King? Hold up. Don't
I
do
gotta
that.
get going because I gotta get up in the morning.
Okay, but don't do that yet. Before you go,
I gotta get going, brother.
let me
I got.
read this before you go. Let me read this one paragraph, and you can go, sis. Can I do that?
Where is it? Where is it coming
It's
from?
from GM James, Stolen Legacy, the brother that was killed for putting this information out here. It's a small paragraph. So basically, this is what the brother said. He said, as mentioned elsewhere, the Egyptian mysteries and philosophical schools of Greece were closed by the edicts of Theodosius in the 4th century. And he said that all of Justinian and of a consequence, intellectual darkness spread over Christian Europe and the Greco-Roman world for 10 centuries. During the time of that time, knowledge disappeared. During the Persian, Greek, and Roman invasion, large numbers of Egyptians fled not only to the desert and mountain of the regions, but also the adjacent lands of Africa, Arabia, and Asia Minor, where they lived secretly and developed the teachings which belong to the mystery system. In the 8th century AD, the Moors, the natives of Mauritania, North Africa, invaded Spain and took with them the Egyptian culture which they had preserved. Knowledge of the ancient days was centralized. It belonged to a common parent system, wisdom teaching, and the mysteries of Egypt, which the Greeks used to call Sophia. As such, people of North Africa were neighbors of the Egyptians and became the custodians of the Egyptian culture. And they spread throughout the considerable portions of Africa, Asia Minor, Europe. During the occupation of Spain, the Moors displayed considerable credit and grandeur of African culture and civilization. The schools and libraries which they established became famous throughout the medieval world. Science and learnings were cultivated and taught. The schools of Cordoba, Toledo, Seville, Saragossa, and attained such celebrity that they, like their parent, Egypt, attracted students from all parts of the Western world. And from that arose the most famous African professors the world has ever known in medicine, surgery, astronomy, mathematics. But these people from North Africa did more than merely distinguish themselves in Spain. They were really recognized as the custodians of African culture to whom the world looked for enlightenment. Consequently, through the medium ancient Arabic language and philosophy of various branches of science were disseminated. All the so-called works of Aristotle, metaphysics, and moral philosophy. In addition, the Moors kept up constant contact with Mother Egypt, for they had established caliphates not only in Baghdad and Cordova, but in Cairo, Egypt, Europe, and in the Middle Ages. They were initiates of the ancient Egyptian mystery system. Moses, Christ, all of them, those who are of interest. So the
Okay,
Moors were the ones that were custodians of the knowledge. Now I
okay,
leave you with that right there, sis. You
okay.
know, fact check me, peace and love.
Yeah. All right. You have a good one. Peace.
Likewise, you do the same.
All right, then. Peace. 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 Oh boy. All right, you guys. Um, you guys enjoy yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't intend to go in like that very long, but that was one hell of a video. That was one hell of a ride. Um, Other than that, you guys, please be safe out there. Make sure if you like this channel and you like what you watching, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook watching, go ahead and share the Facebook page. Other than that, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you enjoyed it. And Remember, knowledge is necessary. Please do your research, okay? Do your thorough research. And I will talk to you guys later. So we'll continue with daily Black history and make sure I give you the accurate information, okay? So, cause that right there, that was a whole, that's a roller coaster ride. But all right then. Well, you guys be safe out there and be careful during this pandemic and take it easy. I'm about to go ahead and rest. May peace and power elevation be to all of you. Until next time, deuces, and I'll talk to you later.